Welcome to Together Women Rise, a podcast where we explore the journeys of extraordinary women who reached the top levels of leadership position. I'm your host, Cécile Meunier, and in each episode, we dive into inspiring conversation with women who face challenges, broken barriers, and led with authenticity and resilience. This isn't about one-size-fits-all success. It's about discovering your unique leadership path by learning from those who've paved the way. You will hear honest stories, raw insights, and actionable advice to empower your own career journey. So, whether you're chasing your next big promotion, seeking fresh inspiration, or simply need a reminder that you're not alone, Together Women Rise is your space to explore what's possible when women uplift each other. Dewi, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just to give a little words about you. So you have an incredible career in ICT. Today you're the CEO of Effex. So Effex, for the people who don't know, is an end-to-end platform for statistical design of experiments. And I think we would see how you would present yourself, but I think experiments is quite a good one because that means it's trying, coming back and trying again. But we will see. And also I think you're also a strong advocate for ethics in tech, sustainable business, and diversity. And for that, you have been multiple times recognized. And lately in December, you have been named Woman of the Year in Technology by ELLE magazine in Belgium. And so what is an amazing recognition for your impact in shaping the future of tech and leadership. So congratulations for that. And so that's why I'm very thrilled that you are participating to the podcast. And today the conversation will take us beyond the usual discussion on gender and leadership. We'll unpack the tension between nature, who we are at our core, and nurture, the societal conditionings that tell us how we should behave. But more importantly, right now, I would before we dive in, I give you the floor so you can present yourself through 3 symbols that is the Dewi as a leader, as a woman. Tell us.
Thank you so much, first of all, for the invitation. And indeed, I think experiments might be a word that definitely describes me. Yeah. But in thinking of those indeed 3 symbols that describe me, then I have chosen for, first of all, running shoes.
All right.
Besides the fact that I like to run and I'm really sportive and I often have difficulties with sitting still.
Okay.
I think running also has to do with persistence and perseverance and endurance, because in the end, running in the beginning, even if you're a good runner, it's still every time you need to start, you have to put on your shoes. The most difficult meters are the ones from your couch to your front door. Yeah. And I think those 2 words, persistence and perseverance, and actually endurance, 3, are 3 words that really belong to me. I am somebody that when I really believe in something and I really want something, I will keep searching and keep during the hardship that comes with it to achieve that goal. And therefore, I thought my running shoes are a symbol to that, because I run already for such a long time. Yes. And sometimes people, if they go run with me, they say, you're good or whatever. But I think, you can be good as well, but you just have to keep on running. That's the thing.
So if you're telling me, even if you're running for a long time, you don't have yet the addiction that it's natural. You still have to make kind of an effort sometimes to put on the shoes and, as you say, the first meter to pass on your doors and to start running.
Yes, because every day is different. One day you're tired, the other day it's cold, the other day it's raining. There's always something. The whole point is you just have to start running.
And for you, for which reason do you run?
For multiple reasons. It's on the one hand because I sometimes really need to be outdoor. I feel like a dog that has to be let out or something. Like the point where you start to get in flow where the running suddenly, like the hardship and the, oh my God, I'm exhausted and I'm out of breath kind of part just evaporates and you're just running. I like how your brain starts to wander when you're running. I like to see the seasons change when I'm running. And also, of course, I like the fact that it keeps you healthy. So there are a lot of things that I like about running, and they're all for myself. So that's also like a pact that I made with myself. I will never run for marathons or something because I know the competition in the running would take away the reasons why I do it for myself. And I do not want it to have an outward incentive. I wanted to have an inside incentive. So
yeah, that's very strong, because indeed quite often to start a new sport and everything, having a deadline, having kind of a goal help us to start. And here it's very a strong commitment to yourself. And what is quite often the most difficult, that we don't have to be accountable for anyone externally to keep doing things, that we're just doing it for ourselves. And that is really a high achievement, I would say, to just do it for yourself.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And the goal is to be able to do it for a very, very long time. And so there is no end goal in mind. The end goal is to keep running until the day I die, so to speak. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I have the second one is salt water, is because I have this quote. It says, the cure for anything is salt water. It's sweat, tears, or the sea. And so in having the burnout in 2015 and having to search for that thing that relaxes me, like where do I find salvation? Where do I find rest? I needed to go search, like, where do I find that place? Like, where is that place? And I figured out that I either had to cry, but like, not the anger crying, you know, the ones with the held in tears, but the release crying that resolves things. It's it's a different kind of crying.
Let the emotion go out and accepting and just let go.
That one. And just clean yourself, like really that.
Absolutely.
The other thing was sweating, like really like go do sports and running and or like go cycling or whatever, just like get out. And the last one is just to go into the water, like really go to the sea, go to the beach. Like it can be in summer, in spring, in fall or winter. It doesn't matter which season it is. It's the most important is to be at the sea, to have that vastness, that water, that sound, the smell, the weather and the wind and everything that comes with it, to understand. Yeah, it's kind of lets things evaporate a little bit. Therefore, salt water that's really like also something that kind of defines.
Okay, that's an original one. I like it. Yeah.
And the last one is a little bit fun, but I chose like the song of Gigi D'Agostino.
Can you sing it?
Like, and it's because it's a really fun, upbeat song with this opera singer in it, and it's so fun and gay in the multiple dimensions of that word. And you know, when sometimes life just throws you lemons, you just have to put on L'amour toujours, I think it's the title is, and then you just have to really shout it and then life is good again.
Okay. So you also use music to switch your mindset. So if you need to feel more like light, happy, and to bring up back your energy, you can also use the music for that.
Yes. I believe that music can have that effect on you. And sometimes when you're stuck and you need to cry, I think music can help you translate that emotions and bring them loose and let you do that thing that you need to do. But on the other hand, I think it has the power as well when you really need to be somewhere and you're feeling a little bit down, a little bit tired, that you can really put something on that boost your feelings and your energy, and then you can just rock it.
Great. But I love how this symbol gave us a glimpse into who you are, especially that I think it revealed also us, like you really take care of yourself, because all of three is how you manage your energy in a way.
Yeah. Indeed. Yes.
So that's also like for all our listeners thinking, okay. And I think like you just say that you went through a burnout. And I think after burnout, we learn to be better aware of our energy and how to, instead of managing our time, it's managing our energy. And I guess this is your tricks that you find out to better manage your energy. So thank you for those authentic sharing. And that brings us about the heart of our conversation today, about who we are actually. And so we see that despite you built an impressive career in tech and leadership, and as women, no matter how far we can go, we are often carry invisible expectations, ideas of who we should be, how we should lead, and even how we should succeed, those kind of things. And you chosen to explore this tension between nature and nurture. So first I would like with your own words, how would you define nature and nurture?
I think for me, nature is how you're born. You know, you're born with a set of feet and hands and head, eyes and ears. You come out of that womb and you are a certain person already. You're either curious or extrovert or introvert. You are very concise or precise or timid. There's a lot of things that people just are by nature. It's just a given that comes with genetics and that kind of things. And yeah, it's just who you are at the core. And next to that, you get nurture. It's how you are nurtured by your surroundings. You know, what are the things that are being said to you, the mantras that you get when you're a child? How are you stimulated? How are the talents that you are they being applauded? Do people say to you, because you're timid, very good that you're timid, or are they saying, you're very timid, you should be more outspoken, step up a bit, you know? And that for me is nurture. And it starts when you're little. Totally. It's your family, your parents, your brother, your sister, grandparents. And then when you grow a little bit bigger, it starts to be school. And
society.
And from the moment, indeed, you start to be in the society also starts to give you these kind of ideas of who and what you should be. And of course, it's very difficult to escape nurture, because nurture is also something that's been given from family up to family. It holds within its history, it holds within it the country, the community.
It gives as well a sense of belonging.
Yes, absolutely. And besides even nurture, because there is also this part where what we call inculcation, and that's even a little step further. It's where, why does society nurtures you? Why do they have all these ideas of how you want to be? It's because a society needs their inhabitants to be in a certain way so that they follow the laws, follow the rules, follow the implicit set of values that is in a society. And it's very difficult to question those and to oppose those. And in societies where this kind of inculcation is really beaten into you in the literal sense, like Afghanistan or some, where the women are not allowed anymore to go to school. But here in Belgium, you are also in a way punished for not following society's rules by indeed exclusion, or by not being invited in some areas when you're not following those implicit rules. So therefore, in my own words, that's the difference and the playing field or the tension field between nature versus nurture.
And do you think that we can, because of course we are all living in this society, and think that there is a way to reconcile nature and nurture where we can fully embrace who we are while still striving within the structure of society or an organization?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that are important to reconsider. I think, of course, there is a way to reconcile both of them. It requires a society that does not want you to be a certain way in order for you to be accepted. I think we all, of course, should follow the rules of respect to one another and to be able to have rules of communication, how to address, to be kind, to be inclusive, that kind of things, without imposing that you need to be a woman in a very rigid kind of definition. The question is, are we free to, be who we are within the limits of safety, within the limits of not calling people like racist terms, that kind of thing. So I think that's where the limits of freedom end when you hurt the other person. But as long as you're not hurting the other person, I think you should be able to, be and who you are. And I think that's the discussion about the whole LGBTQ plus / women and being people from other cultures is that apparently in this society you have to be a white male.
Yeah, we know the word.
And it's impossible for a woman to be male. It's impossible people of color to be white. So in that sense where we have defined society to be the norm, it's impossible for most of society to actually be that. So that means that the way we have set the norm and set the rules in our society, it's unobtainable for most of us.
Yeah, I do understand with the book, I will put it, the Caroline Chardot-Perez.
Invisible Woman.
Yeah, Invisible Woman, that explain it very well. But here because like we have certain value also that grow from our experience, like, so we are still evolving also through the years. But you taking your example, for example, in your leadership journey today, would you say that you have been because today you're a CEO, would you say that you have been able to reconcile, I would say, your value, like being yourself and still managing an organization, like a company, that means that you have fully integrated with other people, and so that you also behave within certain rules because there is employees, you have clients, etc. And so from your leadership journey, is there like some obstacle? Because what I hear from, indeed, the society is not perfect, but it's also what we are accepting as the limit. If I take one example, we should be like women, you should be like always the one serving, So you would be the one in a meeting, making sure that everybody feel at ease, all those kind of things. But that is up to us to take that conditioning or not, And so what have been maybe the internalized story or like condition that you have taken in the past that in your journey, you say that I don't take it anymore. That doesn't belong to me. And doesn't mean that I'm not going to be nice with people around me, but then you start to behave differently. And so here I would like to know what have been the moment in your life you decided, well, this is not the leader I want to be. And now if I really want to be fully myself as a leader, something has to change,
Well, the irony is to be that full leader, the one that you want to be, you have to know yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
And the whole point was that if you ignore who you are, there is no way that you can become that leader that you want to be. Because, of course, I have flaws too.
Absolutely.
I'm impatient. I do not like to tell things 3 times. I sometimes think people should be thinking more for themselves. And also I am somebody who thrives in chaos to make order, but you have to pull me out of order or I make chaos again. So those are dynamics that if you are not aware of those, you can be maybe like even a very bad leader because, suppose you make a very nice and decent organization and you make chaos again because you cannot stand the fact that everything is so neatly in order. And so I think that was for me the most important part, was first got to know and also started to accept who I was.
And especially the shadow side.
Yeah, the dark side of yourself. Yeah. And also to understand that I have multiple sides and not all those sides need to come to the office. Yeah. And to make space in the private time for the sides that do not have a place in the office side. So that's what made that at a certain point, for some people, and that's also important, I am a good leader because I am aware that I can also only thrive in certain situations where, like, for instance, in a startup like Effex, it's high demanding. People that are in my team are amazingly smart, all of them. And I can understand that if you would be there and you're a little bit slower and you would have me and I would say, like, first time, yeah, you have to do it like this, and the second time and third time. And I would start to be impatient a little bit, that it's not nice. You know, I understand that it can be very annoying. In Effex, because it's a small team, all the people are a little bit like me, which is good for the beginning, not good for the long term. Of course, we have to diversify in some way. In Flow Pilots, in my previous company, I had somebody supporting me and the team in order to be able to cope with that.
To the daily management. So what I hear is you're fully aware of where you're really good at. So you're really good at...
And where I'm bad at.
Yeah. But you choose to strive where you're good at and where you can really bring added value. So you won't take over a big company that exists for a long time and not going through a transformation, let's say, quite pretty stable. That will be boring for you and you will not be the right CEO in those kind of companies. Like, you're very good at fast pace, like it's chaos, we need to bring order. I'm with people with the same mindset, bam, 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 we go fast and here you strive. So that's the way that your environment fit with what you are.
Yeah.
So I think here it's a great example to really know ourselves and stop wanted, if we're around, to fit into a cube shape. So then everything goes better.
But that's not easy because it does require that self-knowledge.
And bring it to that. Yeah. How did you get this self-knowledge?
Well, yeah, it's that process with, like, falling and crawling up again. The irony is that I kind of knew who I was until I became a mother. And it's the motherhood and the expectations that came from society and the pressure that came from society on what is a good mother.
And for you, what did you thought that was the pressure? What was your perception at that time?
Yeah, it's about everything. It's about I always had the feeling I didn't look enough like a mother, you know, that I was not recognizable as a mother and that I wasn't suited enough because I did not like to bake cupcakes with my children. And yeah, there were all these kind of things that were said that how you had to be as a mom that completely were the opposite of what I like to do. And because I was also one of the first time moms, I had nobody to kick my ass or to say, like, you know, let them all like talk and just do your thing. And so the reason for the burnout has multiple layers. The expectations within the company of who I needed to be or who I thought I needed to be as a co-founder and as a responsible, and who was also responsible for bringing in money and to make sure that everybody had work. Then the motherhood, and then also being a daughter at the same time and being a good wife at the same time, but also still like needed to be a little bit of a sexy girlfriend because your husband wants his wife from before the children back. I thought it was completely insane.
Yeah. And that's kind of funny because that's all the inside story that we are telling to ourselves.
Yeah.
That we're thinking, oh yeah, the girl next door, yeah, she's able to do it all. And we think we are the only one who are not capable of doing it all, where no one is capable of doing it all, actually.
Yeah.
But so what would you tell to, I don't know, when was it? Like 15 years ago.
Already.
What would you tell her? She has all this belief that she has to stay sexy, that she has to be able to bake cupcake with her child, even if baking is not her things, that she still have to be the top CEO that bring work and then a good wife. What would you tell her now to the Dewi 15 years ago?
Yeah, I think I would first give her a very good hug. So, because I think that was also something like you need to be so tough the whole time.
You thought that you had to be tough.
Yeah, but I think that all women have that feeling that you have to be tough, because it's a multiple layered kind of identity crisis from male colleagues that are giving you sexistic remarks, from customers that do not recognize you in the beginning as one of the founders of the company and see you as a secretary or the one that has to bring coffee, whilst you're actually one of the ones that is actually doing really the most important work. It's all those different kind of expectations from all those different kind of groups. So I would just first hug myself and then really like try to get into my head to say you're good enough as you are, So
recognize already everything that you're doing already so well.
Yeah, yes. And to keep following the fire in your heart. Because I think a lot of people at a certain point underneath the pressure of other voices stop following the place where their heart burns. And it's not easy to really keep on that path, but that's where in the end salvation, happiness, flow, and all those things belong. And if you do not do that, then you get into difficulties.
You pay the price. I can totally relate. Like I did the same mistake as you in the past. I think as well there's the fact that we want to belong, and then when your environment is not anymore the right one for you, and you start to change yourself to adapt to environment too much, and it's too far from your core, at some point you lose yourself, and it's where depression arrives. And you need to quit and gather yourself again and finding back, what is actually make you yourself, and what is the right environment where you're going to be able to strive. So I totally relate that indeed we staying in touch with what make you really who you are. And despite sometimes the pressure, it's having the force to take a step back and to look at the situation, to reassess. Is it now for me the right environment? Should I change something? So otherwise I'm going to lose myself.
And in addition, because we're of course now talking as to women with the burden of motherhood, but I think for men, it is the same. I think a lot of men are trapped within an idea of masculinity, on how a successful man should be, how he should behave, and all those things. And when you do not fit that image, then you have to kind of pose yourself. And unfortunately, we're back in this kind of age of extreme toxic masculinity, where the testosterone bros are back. And it's really unfortunate, because I know so many men who have absolutely no message on this stereotype masculinity part, who have been searching and working on embracing finally that yin side of them as well. And I know tougher women, for instance, than men, and I know softer men than me. So I find it very sad that again we're here. In this era.
Yeah, it's changing. Can we say that it's actually like nature, and instead of nurture, if it could be empowering, then it will be taking in account the nature of the person and helping the person to grow and not trying to change the person?
Absolutely. I think nurture can also be in the positive sense of the word. And nurture can also be the part where you help people to use their talents and be the full potential of what they could be. But that's today not the way that we're using it.
And even if you have work on your internalized expectation, is there still one or two that is still playing inside you, and you know that you are aware of it, and so you have to pay attention to it, not to fall back in the trap? Could you share one of that?
But I think it's a constant battle. Yeah, being aware of who you are. Of course, with age comes experience, and with age comes also a little bit more like being the restlessness kind of subsides a little bit. And I have also a lot of friends around me that have been with me for already a very long time, who also know you much better. So you can more easily get the right mirror. Whilst when you're younger, if you're still searching for yourself and the other one as well, it's not so easy to see the other in how he or she is. What are traps? What is successful? Yeah. Sometimes I do have that mindset that I think, Dewi, I mean, come on. You're almost 45. You're still working in a startup. I mean, why don't you have like a big career? Like Iman Kadri from Sysenko. You know, you're never going to be like the CEO of $1 billion company. Like if you're going to keep on working in a startup, but then it's what you said before. I will never be happy, like being in $1 billion company, because I would have to do so much politics and kind of things, and it would not fit my energy, and it would not fit who I am. And I want to be advocating for tech and STEM and ethics and values. So I would have to shut up because, you're the CEO of $1 billion company. You do not want to influence the stock market.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I would be fired before I start, you know?
For sure.
But
that's great. So then you still catch yourself comparing yourself with someone who you're absolutely not, and where you will be so unhappy, but still, like sometimes, because it's the big image that we get from the social media or on the media, and then you think, oh God, I will never be as good as, where you're just very good at what you are. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But of course, and I also sometimes look at Ursula von der Leyen, and I'm thinking like, oh my God, and she has done so many children as well, and she's always so neat, and her hair lies always in the same form, and she's always like so nicely dressed, and look at you in jeans, and it's the same. So
I know. We are so hard on ourselves. We are so hard. And what I love, one of people I have followed, they say comparison doesn't bring anything good. The only person you can compare to is yourself 10 years ago, and see how much you have achieved. That's the only healthy comparison. And for the rest, anybody else, you should see it as inspiration.
Indeed. But you asked me whether I have.
I know. It's because we are all human. So we are all doing those kind of, being very hard on ourselves. So that's why and I love that in that podcast that we show that even if we think, because there are some women who think it's the second time that she is a CEO of a company. How can she say that she's not successful? I'm still I'm nearly 45, like someone would say, I'm nearly 45 and I haven't been yet a CEO. So you know, you look at what you compare to. So, no, that's a good one. And I'd like as well now, as you say, that with what's going on in the US, also in the Belgium government, that we don't have a lot of women. So we see we are in kind of rollback of diversity. And in this context, I think it would be nice to think like how, as women leaders, we can activate more our true sisterhood, our solidarity, rather than falling into the trap of fear-driven self-preservation behaviors, because that's the risk. When we feel at threat, we can, instead of solidarity, we're just thinking of how can I save my ass, basically.
Yes, I know. I think in 2021, I received the prize for inspiring 50 women in deep tech technology Europe. And we received a tile as a prize. And in the tile, it's always on my desk because it says we rise by lifting each other. And I think that's the only mantra that I can think of that you should like put inside your brain. That's you do not rise by like pushing people down. And so probably I will sometimes help maybe women or men that will just take the help and maybe further down will not speak my name inside rooms where I'm not present. But I can only hope that even a small fraction of them does remind the help that they got or understand that they are where they are because they could stand on my shoulders. And I hope then not per se that they repay me, but that they pay it forward and that they will be shoulders where others can stand up. So that's one thing. And the other thing is to not be afraid to keep on using our voice because there will be retaliation. That's the fear in the end. Why are all the tech bros present at the inauguration of Trump? I would be fearing
absolutely
a retaliation as well. And I know why women are afraid to speak up about diversity or the glass ceiling is again because you fear that when you are going to be the one that needs something or need to ask something, that they will say, yeah, I don't want that one because she's always the one complaining. Yet if we use all our voices, then it's not just one voice that is advocating, then it's way more difficult to have that retaliation. And then still there can be one or two, but it's different. And so I understand sometimes the reflex of women to say, yeah, but we should be nicer to men, or it's not all men, or we should do this, or yeah, do you always have to be so angry and always be so fighting? And yes, I do believe I still need to be sometimes like angry and being angry woman and to be really loud and to keep on being really loud because I have a very huge responsibility. I have a friendship group and they all have girls and I will not stand my nieces and their daughters to live tomorrow in a world where they will have lesser chances than I am because I choose to stay silent
and
in
safe.
the moment that I need it to be very, very loud.
Yeah, I agree.
And so,
I think we are in the moment that actually as leader is to show your courage. You have to be brave to voice out, to stand up. And, but let's say like, because you're today, you're a CEO, like how concretely, for example, in your company or in the past company where you have been as well a leader, what are the concrete action that you put in place in the company to bring this solidarity, this sorority, the sisterhood, or that can be also at the diversity level, that maybe not only women, but how we can help minority or how to make people helping each other rather than being in competition. So how do you make that happen concretely in your companies as a leader?
First of all, you don't bitch about each other. That's one thing. I mean, that's not such a difficult thing to do. Second of all, you speak up when they're not there in the room and they're being, like, how you say, talked about or sexually harassed. Men saying like, oh, she has big boobs or whatever. And that you say like, it's not necessary to talk about that person like that. You stick together, you empower your women, you make sure that they get growth opportunities and you make sure that they know when there are courses to be followed, when there is opportunity to grow. But you also include the men. And I think especially at Flow Pilots, due to the culture that we had installed, first of all, there was never any like wrong jokes ever. But it was because I advocated very strongly when they did it in the beginning. Second of all, we had a culture where we said failure is allowed. So if you make a mistake, you have to tell, and we will search together for a solution so that we all learn from that. And that was very difficult because people came sometimes from organization where that was not allowed, and they were used to like sweep it under the rug because they were afraid for being fired or anything. So that's one. And the third one was we actively promoted to take fathership leave. And that's how you can look at it either way, but it made the men also softer. And it's stupid to say it like that because they were not soft. They were actually, it made that the men could be who they wanted to be too. And what happens is that then you see that men and women are very close to each other when it comes to the desire to be with their children, with their spouses, to not work until late night and to escape home. Actually, if you install such a culture, everybody works hard in the hours that are necessary. And then because they want to go home to be with their families. And so that's what happens. And then you install an inclusive culture. And then you also make sure that for women, it's also safe.
What I hear, it's kind of then there is no more difference because it's like men and women are working the same amount of hour, want still to spend the same time with their family. So there is not anymore a discrepancy that makes someone who does longer hour and say, oh, that's fine, it's my wife. I can come back at midnight. No. So then you have the same chance as well of promotion and everything.
Yes. And actually at Effex, although it's a smaller team, from the beginning, we have that same attitude. Yes. We work hard, but we have families and we want to make sure that they have also enough quality time with us. And there are children to be picked up from school or have to be brought to school. So we're flexible in the hours. And I always make sure if we're going for drinks that it's in decent hours of the evening so that everybody can join and everybody can be home to put children to bed or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so we really see that it's all come from the culture of the company that you want to bring all the values, and then people follow the culture of the company. So if you create a culture of trust, as you say, that work-life balance, and I love the fact as well, error, and that remind me of, and that's for the young generation. I got one young guy and he made a mistake, and when I had to give a referral for him, and I said, well, I told the person that actually when you make a mistake, you tell it. And for me, that was your strongest point because I could trust you. So then I know that I'm not going to discover something very, nasty a month later, then it's too late to do anything. Like the soonest that you say that and I say, this is one of your best quality. And I know he didn't understand at the time because he told to other young people and say, wow, she told someone that I'm making mistakes. But that was not the point. That was the point and you say it immediately. And for any leader, then you have the trust. And that is the most important thing, I think. Then you can work in a trustful environment.
Yes.
All right. And before we close, what advice would you give to a woman listening today who want to lead differently, to break free from her narratives like that come from where she has been nurtured and her self-belief, and that can maybe stop her from being completely herself aligned, and while still succeeding in corporate environments?
I think to find your tribe. It has taken me some time to indeed find those women that I can lean on and to whom I can talk and where I have that kind of connection. But I think that's the main condition is you have to have mirrors and you have to have support and you have to be able to talk and feel not alone in your journey. And that's one thing. If you're surrounded by more people that do what you would like to be.
So inspire you as well.
Then they can inspire you and show you the way. Mm-hmm. The second thing we already discussed is know yourself. Yes. And if you know your mantras, it's a 4-step journey. First, you have to learn that those are mantras that are from outside of you and that are put inside you, but do not serve you. And so you have to kick out those mantras that are useless.
Yes.
That's one thing. Not easy. Second thing is that the ones that are useful, really put them then to good use. Be aware when those bad mantras come back, that those beliefs, they're not gone. When things are installed in you when you were a child, they will be there for you, with you for the rest of your life. But you can mute them. And sometimes when they come, you can be gentle and kind to them and accept them that they're there and then put them away in the closet again. So those are the things I would, and I know maybe women that are listening are saying like, Dewi, it's so fluffy what you're saying. But actually, here is the thing. Okay. They should go lie down on their bed.
Yes.
And then you put your hands on your belly. And I have been saying this to a couple of women in my surroundings lately. And then you feel. You think about things that you want and you think about the things that you want to be and you think about life, about your work and stuff like that. And if your belly hurts when you think about certain things, it's bad for you. When you feel good and it feels relaxing, it's good for you. And already just realizing what is bad for you, it will show you the way. And you will have to do this a couple of times every so often, because of course you change, your surroundings change and all those things. But if you consequently really listen to what your body is saying, then actually you kind of know where you have to go. Mm-hmm. And it will tell you, and it will tell you very, very, very loud when you do not listen, because in the end, that is what a burnout is your body that is saying, girl, that way that you're going, I'm so not agreeing, cut it off. I'm going to just stop you right now, because you have to really rethink and reconsider your life choices.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, as you say, being able to listen to your inner self. And your body will tell you, if you don't follow the path, then you start to feel sick. So that's, for some people, it's a burnout. For some other, you start to have headache, starting to be bigger and bigger. For some other, you start not to be able to digest anymore. That's also a big sign, usually. So, and it can be in your career and it can be obviously in your personal life as well, when something doesn't match anymore who you are currently. So I think it's a great tip that first, finding your tribe where you find inspiration and support. And then we're going back to networking. That is also a very important topic in leadership if you want to strive. And then it's really knowing yourself and listening to yourself. So that's a very nice word. So thank you so much, Dewi, for this powerful conversation, your insight that remind us that true leadership isn't just about navigating the system, but how we can be true, and that how we can find a system that is aligned with who we are, what you made it. So congratulations. So you can inspire women that it's possible. And that means that we cannot compare ourselves with the others, because otherwise we will never be aligned with who we are. And so to all the women listening today, if Dewi's story resonated with you, I encourage you to reflect on the narrative you have internalized in you, and more importantly, to take action. Because they're not going to change magically. And whether it's lifting up another woman, challenging also the outdated structures, we have seen that we can act, and that is so important, and especially now. So simply lead with authenticity, or every small act contributes to a larger movement. So I really encourage everyone to take action to make also your environment where you're working a better place, a safer place for women and for any other minority. And Dewi, it's been an absolute pleasure to having you. And thank you for sharing your wisdom, your leadership, as well tips, and your deep commitment to making a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Together Women Rise. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to share your thoughts, suggest topics, or even nominate a future guest. We'll meet again in 2 weeks for another episode. And remember, don't compete. Support the women around you.